we're on lockdown on Thursday. So I'm going to start the garden, put seedlings in the greenhouse, keep this thing busy, fed, and productive. And I encourage you all to do the same. I'm going to close with some plants that I am interested in. I would encourage you to write them down and do the research on them yourself, and then make decisions yourself about how you're going to leave some things out of your diet until it's absolutely necessary. Detox what you can in this short amount of time you can. Lots of water is going to help with that, because you want to increase your health. Cardio is hard when there's this situation at hand with the quarantine, but if you've got a patch of woods or a cycle in your house, one of those stationary bikes, whatever it takes, get your cardio up. You want to be able to increase oxygen exchange. For plants that you can incorporate into your diet, any wild plants, but specifically the needle leaf trees, all the pines, such as we're using balsam fir here, and for me, it's one of the best means of soothing a sore throat, opening up the bronchial tubes. I can breathe better, my sinus is clear. I can't tell you, I'm not a doctor, I can't tell you medically why or how that happens, but of all of the pines here, we have white pine, we have spruces here, we have hemlock, the Tsuga canadensis, not the herbaceous plants. But it's the balsam fir that has the most potent effect in clearing my sinuses and allowing me to breathe again. I had a flu in December that knocked me down pretty hard, and we had a great opportunity to try some of the local plants, and that one was a great maintenance plant because you really can't overdose. You just flush the vitamin C right out and all of the other phytochemical constituents. But elderberry bark, there's a big article going around, and I don't think many people read it, about how elderberry may make things worse. The elderberry itself, the berry of the elderberry. But I believe it was in the Buhner article, or maybe it was one of the studies coming out of China near the epicenter of this whole thing, mentions that elderberry bark has some effect. Now, I'm only mentioning plants and trees that are readily available to me because they grow here. So make sure you inventory the plants in your area that may be considered antivirals by recent studies, publications. Try to find at least 3 resources. Get on these Facebook sites that are about our ancestral plants and have people talking from a place of experience and or authority, whether they're doctors or herbalists of 30 years. Speaking of which, Charles Garcia out of California is one of the people I admire for his dirt time. He's been on the streets working with the plants with a real population of folks and seeing results. You can't beat that. So another great resource. Dandelion. Again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not an herbalist where that's all I do is study and practice herbs on other people. I am a general practitioner. So I have known dandelion for years to tone the system. Spring tonic, right? The old timers would call it a spring tonic. Mildly astringent, nourishing, rich in nutrients and vitamins. Great for filtering organs, the liver especially. But again, in these articles that I've been just devouring over the last 3 days on this virus, it's mentioned more than a few times that dandelion. Now, hopefully you haven't sprayed your yard full of poison, because the dandelions are everywhere and they're powerful. They taste pretty good this time of year. They won't start getting bitter until the insects come out, and they do that to defend against the insects. But we've got an evolutionary relationship with these plants, and there's no articles or references I found, and that includes the Commission E monographs, which Europe uses actively for modern medicine and herbalism to coincide with each other. There's no counterindications with any of these plants with modern drugs. Still tell your primary care physician if you're going to be introducing them into your baseline diet to elevate your resiliency. Garlic is a little bit more proactive. If you love garlic, well, you're in luck, right? If you don't like garlic, just know that it's one of those powerful antivirals. Oregano, basil, they're also mentioned, and I've been using them for exactly these things as part of our winter protocols. Skullcap is a lover of wet places. You can usually get it in herbal stores. I doubt you can find much now in the bulk ordering. Learn how to identify it, find an experienced herbalist, look at the videos, sketch it out until you're pretty confident, know its measurements and its habitats. Scutularia is the genus, I believe. It has very delicate flowers. Any of the similarly structured flowers in the area aren't going to be toxic. Green tea, as well as black tea. Now that's common as I'll get out. You know, my good-hearted son, he was going to do me a favor, and he bought all these herbal teas for me. And I was like, well, that's nice, but this is one of those occasions where Lipton will eat just fine, right? And of course, St. John's wort, which isn't up out of the snow here yet. Be sure that you're practicing responsible foraging practice. You don't want to wipe out an area and shoot yourself in the foot for next year or the second wave. All right, no more than a third per patch, and be patient. You're a gardener, and if you garden poorly, you starve. And in this case, if you garden poorly, you don't have the pieces that worked for you the next time around, or worked for your kids, or worked for your grandmother or mother or elder. So, stay squared away. Remember, pace, positive attitude changes everything. It's time to strap on your rose-colored sun goggles and roll up your sleeves, folks. We're going to get through this in finer fashion than we entered it. See you on the trail.